Hey, welcome to Flying Wheels. Let's let the light adjust for just a second. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels. Today's a fun video because a few weeks ago, I sold a Chrysler Cirrus, like a 1999 Chrysler Cirrus. I had it for a really long time, sitting here almost a year. We bought it, we fixed it, we cleaned it, we sold it. We also took in trade a 2007 BMW 328i. Now the BMW was absolutely disgusting. I ended up selling the Chrysler Cirrus for the price of the BMW plus $800, meaning I kind of got the BMW for free because it was a trade-in, and today we're gonna bring it back to life and we're gonna sell it at the end of the video after we go through the entire car and make it sellable. Are we gonna make money? Are we gonna lose money? I can give you a hint. Spoiler alert, we're gonna lose a crazy amount of money. How can I get a trade-in basically for free and lose a lot of money? You're gonna have to stay tuned to find out. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels. Let's get going. It's an 07 BMW. This window doesn't work, that window doesn't work. We just had insane torrential downpours and this car got soaked. You can see somebody wrote something right there and I can't really tell what that says, but this will be our next really rough bring back to life video. So hey, welcome to Flying Wheels. I own a small car dealership in New Hampshire and I love to put out car content, teach you how I do my job, show you the tricks of the trade and just the ins and outs of being a used car dealer, because sometimes it's glamorous, sometimes it's not so glamorous. Well, this BMW 328i came in really, really rough. I'm gonna show you a flashback in just a minute. And in today's video, we're gonna try to bring it back to life. There is a lot to do to this car, and if I overinvest, I'm just gonna end up losing money. Now, do I do everything I need to do to it, or do I just sell it the way it is? We're gonna find out. And you know what? Actually, spoiler alert, I'm gonna do everything that needs to get done to it, and then I'm gonna lose some money on it. So stay tuned to find out what not to do in today's video. Let's flash back to the BMW. I think we did some belts. Dave, what else did we do to that thing? Lower control arm, a bunch of other things that need to be done. And now he got a good car. And he traded in this, which will be our next video. Now this thing is rough. It's an 07 BMW. This window doesn't work, that window doesn't work. We just had insane torrential downpours and this car got soaked. You can see somebody wrote something right there and I can't really tell what that says, but this will be our next really rough bring back to life video. Final price, this BMW plus 800 bucks. Is that a good deal? I don't really know. I traded in a 92,000 mile Florida car for a BMW at $800 with 189,000 miles. I think we can bring this back to life and make some money. So the money wasn't made on the Sebring or the Cirrus or whatever. The money will be made on this one, which is why I like trade-ins. Trade-ins are fun. Now I don't have to go to the auction, now I don't have to shop. I get to work on this car and sell this, and whatever we make on this is basically the profit on this and that one, plus the $800 for the Cirrus. These are typically like dealer floor mats that I put on the floor to keep the cars clean while they're for sale. But the whole thing's adhesive. I'm just gonna wrap it on the window, the water out until we get to fix it. Is waterproof until we're ready to fix it. Bingo, bango. I want to show you this real quick. So Chase is detailing this BMW. Now this is what the seat looked like before. The driver's seat now looks like this. Do you mind giving your secrets? Is it all about that dry erase, or is there more to it than that?
Do you do sponsorship?
Not,
is that an issue?
This one is not a sponsorship video, so.
McGuire's.
McGuire's. I actually use McGuire's too. McGuire's, hit me up, reach out. We also fixed the hood on this thing so it doesn't get stuck anymore. And then we clean the engine out. Look at how nice that looks. That is, geez. I hate fixing cars because I don't have the patience of it. And honestly, everybody says they have ADD, I do. And I need like instant gratification. So long-term projects don't work for me. I lose interest, which is why I have so many projects sitting around. I do them and then I lose interest and move on to the next thing. I love the instant gratification of detailing cars. And this is part of that. Like, I'm so happy about these things. This one and this one, if you haven't seen this video yet, this is coming out, or maybe it already came out. Okay, so the BMW was detailed, kind of. But you'll see here, we have some real dull areas that weren't taken care of. And this right here is what it can look like. So this is what it looks like after a detail. This is what it should look like. Now, the original detail didn't do paint correction to the car. It was just a detail. So like all these faded areas can come back. How can it come back? Well, I'm gonna show you. So super simple. We have a 1500 grit wet sandpaper. Now, I didn't even wet sand to get to this part right here. All I used was Meguiar's Ultra Cut Compound, and Meguiar's didn't sponsor this video, so Meguiar's hit me up if you want more stuff, because we use this stuff all the time. So I want to talk to you about today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN Services. It helps you control your personal data, like protect your identity, so you can get notified if your personal data has been leaked somewhere online. You can take control of your data, so know when to change your passwords or prevent breaches, protect your email accounts, and you can choose to receive like quarterly personal data report and just browse privately. So you can go on and browse things privately, encrypt your internet activity so no one can track or steal your data. Now I said it was giveaway time, and this isn't just for one of you this time, it's for everybody. When you purchase a 24-month VPN plan, you get 3 months for free. There's also a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it, and if you don't like it, just cancel it. So try it out for yourself and find a better VPN solution for all your devices with 24/7 support. By the way, I just said it, but it does have a 30-day money-back guarantee as well. What are you waiting for? There's a link right in the description, and you can use my promo code right here on the screen to try it out for yourself. Thanks a lot, Surfshark. Let's get on with the video. Meguiar's. All I did was put some Ultra Cut Compound right on the paint right here. Now this is not even with wet sand. And then I will rub the buffer onto the paint. I don't want to just turn it on because it's going to shoot polish everywhere. Now you want a wool pad because it's going to create heat. It's going to cut deep. I have my speed set on high. This is a Harbor Freight tool. You can get these anywhere. I'm just going to rub the polish, the compound on the paint. And I'm going to start to cut. Now this right here is without any prep work. The car wasn't washed, it wasn't wet sanded. This is what it looks like with no prep work. Now you can do your entire car that way, and I have not even polished this. This is with an Ultra Cut Compound. I'll go after it and show you what it looks like with a polish after this. Now if you really want to get the residue off and get down to the clear coat, you can use that wet sandpaper, which we're actually going to do first, and then we're going to do the diamond cut and then a polish. So take a look at it now so you get a good look of what it looks like before the paint correction, and you'll see it's faded. Now the hood was painted, so we're gonna have to repaint the hood, but everything else, like the fender, remember this fender right here, and then I want you to see what it looks like when we're done. And it's on top of all the high points, so the points that face up where the sun would fade it. All right, let's get started. Just a couple minutes in, a little bit of elbow grease and some good polish. This is what it's coming out like. This hasn't even been polished yet. It's just a diamond cut. So this is the missing link right here. Oh my goodness, here we go. It's a different car. A different car. Well, now that the BMW is all clean and polished, we got to do something about this hood because it is ugly. And unfortunately, can't open the hood. I would love to just take the hood off, prep and paint just the hood. Can't get it open. Tried for over an hour. So it really is kind of a bummer because I have to tape off the entire car, wash the entire, like, it's way more work. If I could just remove the hood, it would have been so simple. But I'm going to start prepping it and then we're going to paint it today. This is frustrating because I'm so flipping close, but I can't get it to unlatch on this side. It's so much more work to tape off this whole car. I just need to get that part unlocked. Oh, I think I got it. I think I got it. Oh, I hope I got it. Oh, so much better. Thank you so much. Wow, it holds itself up. Amazing. It's pretty simple to remove the hood, but for most that don't know, it's just typically like 2 bolts here. These are 11mm bolts. There's a ground there as well. And then I'm gonna remove these hood props, which is usually just like a holding clip right here that I can pry the holding clip off, and then this will pop off. So that's all we're gonna do. So happy I got that to work. Now, we're going to sand this hood. I'm gonna use a DA sander, a dual action sander. It's a rotating sanding disc with, this is probably 80 grit. That's really too heavy, so I'm gonna change this out for like a 220 because all I wanna do is bring the level down. I don't wanna bring it down to bare metal because then I'm gonna have to prime it. There's already an adhesion promoter, like a primer underneath this paint. So if I can just score this down, make it smooth, all I have to do is spray over it. You have to make sure you prep it appropriately too. You don't wanna just spray over dust, obviously. So make sure you wash it, and you don't even, and you also want to be careful with what soaps you're washing it with prior to paint because some will have a reaction with the paint you're using. The other thing is, so like I had said, you don't want to use too coarse of a sandpaper because you're going to get into this and see like real fine sanding marks, and it'll show through the paint too, so you got to be careful with what grit you're actually using. I'm going to take this off and I'm going to start sanding. Auto body technician once told me, tape is cheap, mistakes are expensive. Don't worry about wasting tape. Mistakes are far more costly than the cost of tape. The other thing is too, you don't have to worry about getting the lines perfect. You can see how I did it here, and now I'm just gonna cut the line here and here, which will make it a lot easier and will make it a little bit quicker. What's it say? Sucks? This sucks. So that is just freaking spray paint on there. It's gonna take a lot of sanding. And I don't know which would have been better, to just like use roof off to get the whole thing stripped, or sand go off. I don't know, there's a lot of freaking spray paint, and it wasn't even done well with the spray paint can. Punched the person that spray painted this entire hood. I had to remove all of it. So exactly what I said don't to do, exactly what I said not to do. Don't use 80 grit. I had to use 80 to cut it down. Then I used 180, then I used 220 to get rid of all the sanding and swirl marks. Now I'm gonna have to prep it, and then I'm gonna have to prime it, and then I'm gonna have to paint it. So it was way more work than I thought. In the butt. All right, we're prepped, we're taped, we're ready for paint. I'm actually painting the Cadillac fender as well. Now, if you watched my Nissan 350Z video, you saw that I used a single stage paint, meaning the base and the clear are all in one paint. Because it was a metallic silver, the metal sagged because it's heavy. I had to redo it with a base coat, clear coat, meaning I sprayed base, then I sprayed clear. Because this is black, it's just a gloss black, I can get away with using single stage, especially on that BMW, it's really not gonna matter too much. I'm gonna use my base clear, my single stage, then I'm gonna use some hardener, and I'm gonna use some reducer, and then we're gonna spray it on. And just remember, less is more, so you wanna use multiple light coats, not heavy coats, because then it's gonna sag and it's gonna run, and then you have to wet sand and polish after. So better prep now, makes for less work later. The other thing too is if I put on too light, it's actually gonna go on kind of dusty instead of with like a paint, so you have to find that perfect combination, that perfect layer, where it's not too much and not too little. Now I keep a can of gloss black on hand all the time because I use it all the time. It's a universal gloss black, and I can spray just about everything and try to blend it as close to possible as to other cars, but there's a million different color blacks, so you never know what you're gonna get and how close it's gonna be. This one on a 07 BMW really isn't gonna matter much. So now I'm using a Harbor Freight gun with a water separator on it. Gun was like 15 bucks. So anybody can get it at Harbor Freight or Home Depot or whatever. Same with an air compressor too. They're not expensive. You can use small ones, but the smaller you get, the more it's gonna be running in the background, and sometimes you'll be waiting for air to compress. Another thing you want to think of is paint screens. They're free at the paint store. You don't know what's in the cup, you don't know what's in the paint, you don't know what's in really in the air. So using a paint screen, like some of this paint might have hardened over time, because like I said, I've been keeping it, I use it a lot, so it might get chunky. Paint screen will get the chunks from going into the gun and clogging your gun. So it's helpful, and they're free. Now, I don't have all the proper equipment to do all this stuff, and probably most of you don't either if you're watching this video, so that's why I show you how I do things. Now, I swept the floor, I blew everything out a long time ago. I don't want to blow everything out right before I'm ready to paint, because then the dust is going to be in the air, it's going to settle on the paint. You don't want that. So I blew everything out earlier, and the other thing I do is I wet the floor. So wetting the floor keeps all the dust from climbing. Now, if you'll notice behind me over there, I have a high-powered fan. The fan could very easily blow all the dust up in the air. So having the water on the ground keeps the dust stuck to the water instead of blowing around up in the air while you're painting. Always wear a mask. You don't want to be inhaling this stuff. And also test your spray pattern before spraying your vehicle. Like spray it on a wall, a piece of cardboard, something you don't need, because I just tested my old gun. The pattern was way off, the pressure was all off. I have a better gun that I forgot about, so we're gonna use this gun today. So I poured too much black, so I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to paint the wheels black. But then I was thinking, like, that would look better stock. So I taped them off. I'm not gonna paint them black. We're gonna go silver tomorrow. I'm gonna try to make this car look like a new 2007 BMW, and I think it's gonna make the value higher being silver versus black wheels. Black wheels look too racy, like race car-ish. So look at them now. That's how they look now. I could paint them black even though, because I have black, but it'll look better in silver. Okay, so I typically do 15 minutes in between coats. That way I let it get tacky so the paint sticks to each other and it doesn't run. Your last coat heavier than the first 2 coats, so I did a total of 3 coats. And it should be okay. Like, you can kind of see that it's not perfectly even. There's a little bit of like orange peel on it. The last coat should take care of that. Done for the night. I'm gonna let it dry tonight. I am am gonna have to wet sand and buff it. Same with this one. It looks good, but not great. So I'll wet sand and polish the imperfections with a wool pad in high heat after it dries in the sun. And I'm gonna put the hood on and paint the wheels silver tomorrow, and that car should be finished. So tomorrow we can list that thing up for sale and see what we can get, see if we can make a profit on it. All right, it is auction day today, and we're actually auctioning a bunch of videos. So like truck, Jeep, BMW. So today this BMW is going up for auction, and we're almost finished with it. We just have some minor details. I'm gonna paint the wheels, clean the engine bay, charge the battery, and sell it for pretty much whatever we can get for it. Now this car was essentially free because we made our profit on the Sebring, or I guess whatever this car is would be the profit, because we sold our Dodge Stratus, Chrysler Cirrus, whatever it was, last month. We worked on this, tinkered it, kind of let it sit. But what happened was we sold a Sebring and had $500 plus this car. So the $500 was profit, this car was free. Whatever we sell this car for would be our profit for the Chrysler Cirrus. Does that make sense to you guys, and how trade-ins work when you're kind of breaking even on things? And then the other things is like, we have our Ferrari flip Jeep we're selling. This is a video, which doesn't sound like it would be that interesting, but this car was an absolute disaster. That will be a video coming out. You may remember this Denali with like the duct tape on the steering wheels, the ripped seat. That's a video coming out. And we also bought that Nissan Armada yesterday with that Chevy Tahoe, which was like a wild score. Like there's potential to make like $6,000 on that car, which is just insane. That's a whole other video. So we have a ton of content coming up. But for now, let's finish that BMW. So I've done it before. You know how I paint the wheels on cars. I'm not gonna dismount them and then mount them again and then balance them, especially on a car in this price range. Like this might be a $2,000 car. It might be a $1,500 car. We're wholesaling it. It's not like it's a show car. So we're going to tape the wheels off, mask them, and we're gonna paint them with a heavy metallic silver paint. This I use on everything because it makes the wheels look a heck of a lot better. If you remember our Mustang GT video, this is what we used. Brilliant silver, which is actually hard to find. That's what we use on wheels, and they look amazing as long as you prep them right. So take a look at these wheels now. This car now with these wheels. I've said it 100 times before, you can use a deck of cards, you can use an old plastic front license plate, you can tape them off. But what I'm gonna do is this, and then we're gonna go, and I will get overspray on the wheels, it's just inevitable. We're gonna go behind it and just clean the tires. We can just go behind it with a wet rag and just wipe the tire off as long as the paint is wet. Now that we've done one coat, we're gonna roll it forward, and then we're gonna do a second coat, and rolling it forward would get, you know, all the mist spots. Now I know a lot of people are gonna hate on me because this is very poor prep. Welcome to the most hackiest car channel on YouTube. You can stick some newspaper behind the wheels. Would have been way easier had I just done that. Stick some newspaper behind the wheels, would have protected the calipers from getting painted too. We may paint the calipers, I don't know, but I might just paint them black. This would have protected the rotors, would have protected the calipers had I just stuck some newspaper there. All right, BMW, I am not completely happy with this hood. It's like holidays, like it's flashing. So I'm gonna wet sand it with my DA sander and a 1500 grit sandpaper. And then I'm gonna buff it and polish it and see if we can get it back. So this is what it looks like before. I don't know how good that looks. Like you can kind of see the flashing there. That's before. It's sanded down and washed. Now I'm going to take a foam pad. It's a coarse foam pad with some rubbing compound. I'm going to buff it down, and then we're going to polish it up. The BMW is complete. Let's take it for a ride. Let's take some photos of it. Let's do like a once over and really see how we did in some good sunlight. Now the interior came out incredible. I love that it's a 6-speed. Let's see if it starts. It should. This shouldn't be a problem. Look at this interior. Remember the back seats? That's all that's left. Let's roll up our windows. Yep. Oh, electronic window. You'll notice the back windows are up. The sunroof works. Now this is a 328xi, meaning this is a 3-liter inline 6 xDrive, all-wheel drive, non-turbo. You get into the 335xi, you get into the twin turbo, which is just an absolute monster. I've sold many of those, I've driven many of those. These are fun. And it was like the old reliable, old faithful. They've had the 328i forever, and that's what's cool about this car. And you know, it's peppy, and BMWs shift well, and you know, they're fun cars. But there's not much to it. Not much to this one. It's not like a race car or anything. It's just a nice entry-level, like, luxury sports car. I'd say sports car loosely. All right, so here's our BMW finished product. Now I am wholesaling this car. Now this is a cheap car. Now we don't expect to make a ton of money on this, and it's not really worth me doing everything because I'm not retailing it, meaning I'm not making it perfect to get all the money. I'm just gonna get what I can get, and then I won't get upset. This car came out pretty darn good compared to what it was. Now look at it right now, and I want to remind you what it looked like right now. Now this thing is rough. It's an 07 BMW. This window doesn't work, that window doesn't work. We just had insane torrential downpours and this car got soaked. You can see somebody wrote something right there, and I can't really tell what that says, but this will be our next really rough bring back to life video. Okay, welcome back. Now that you know what it looked like before, you can see we did the wheels. I painted the calipers black. We went down and polished everything. We actually used a rubbing compound and then a polish. The wheels, I think, came out pretty presentable for terrible looking wheels. There's like 10 coats of paint on those wheels. Now we polished the taillights too, which actually put like a nice shine to them. Going down the body, everything came back for the most part. I mean, there was spray paint everywhere. All the way up here, we wet sanded, we buffed, we used like several compounds to try to bring this back to life. That's as good as it's gonna get. And then whatever it said on the hood right here, you can no longer see. It said something. You can't see that anymore. So now that the car's in the shade, I wanna show you what the interior looks like, because the interior was nasty. Now both windows are up. You'll see the leather is kind of faded. We had to get it to what it looks like right now. Oh, these look like burn marks, honestly. I don't know what these could be other than burn marks. Weird. We got all the stains out of the carpets. We got all the stains out of the ceiling. Going to the inside, we got the leather as perfect as can be without having to do leather repair. And then it shifts well and it drives well and the dash isn't cracked. So this car is complete. It is still a rat. I'm gonna list it at auction and then someone else can finish the project. If I get 1,500, that means I made 1,500. If I get 2,000, that means I made 2,000. If I get 500, I'm gonna be disappointed because we put a lot of work into this car. Next scene, we're gonna see how we do. Let's get going. Attempt number 2, because I ran it through an online auction, complete fail, 0 bids. So I'm at the auction I come to every single week to see if we can sell it here. And I think we're gonna get more money. Auction rules are a little different here than they are like online auctions. And I'm actually splitting. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to the Virginia Auto Auction today for their anniversary sale with my father. We're gonna have a good time out there. I'm gonna let the auction reps try to rep this for me and see if they can sell it. Next scene, we'll find out if it sells. You're gonna find out when I find out. Hey, well, I'm back from Virginia, and right here in my hands is I have a check for a 2007 BMW 328. While I was gone last week in Virginia, I sold the BMW at an auction locally. I had the auction rep sell it for me, and without further ado, we're gonna see how much we got for it. Bear with me, almost done. All right, we got a check for $860 for a GMC Yukon XL. We also got a check where we cleared $1,400 for the BMW. That is not very good. So I sold it for $1,500. They take $100 out. Let's go see how we did on this car. I know it was a free car, but was it a free car? Let's go check the numbers. Now that is a profit of $1,600 on the Chrysler Cirrus from over the summer. Now it took me some time to get to the BMW. We finally got it, we sold it. Now I took the BMW in trade for $2,200. So the customer gave me $800 plus their BMW. That's how that works out. The $800, so they gave me a BMW plus $800. That's how I got to the $3,000 price for the Chrysler Cirrus. Now the BMW, I paid $2,200 for. $3,000 minus $800 would be $3,000 minus the $800 out of pocket would mean I paid $2,200 for the BMW. That would give me that $1,600 profit. Now the BMW, I paid $2,200 for. I put paint, I put my time, I put my labor into it. I own the BMW for $2,500, which I thought was a pretty fair price. I sold it for $1,400 after fees, meaning I lost $1,100 on that BMW. That really, really stinks. price. So I made $1,600 on the Chrysler Cirrus. I lost $1,100 on the BMW, which is a huge bummer. That means I had a total profit between those two cars of just $500. That's a lot of work for a $500 profit. That $1,100 loss really killed me. So sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. I show you guys the good, and it's not always good, so I gotta show you the bad too. That BMW's a bummer. Man, I lost money on two cars. That's a lot of work that I did for free then. So, bummer. Don't listen to me on this video or do listen to me, learn from my mistakes, and then don't make the same mistakes. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, do me a favor and give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, like I said, I show you the good and I show you the bad. It's not always good. So make sure to subscribe below, and you can click the bell to get notifications every time I make a new video. Thanks for watching. It was fun while it lasted, even though we didn't make any money. So I'll see y'all later. Have a great day. Adios.